which of course, I like.
Okay.
It was definitely an interesting touch that Salim was actually Pride. So both Salim
and I thought the fact that he was
Pure Bradley were both homunculus. That poor woman,
normal.
they were in the relationship with.
Normal.
They both had that relationship with. They both had that development with. But it was definitely interesting, that Raph, the way Raph, or Pure Bradley, the way he died in 09 was very sad in a certain sense. It left you with a bittersweet feeling. The way how he says that was the only thing he really did choose was that he had lived. He seemed to be happy, content with the way he had lived. And then you also have Pride, which didn't die in 09, which I'm kind of mad about because he dies and Salim dies in 03, but then he lives.
He may have not died in 03.
I heard that he did die. That's what I heard. I couldn't tell for certain, but that's what I heard is he died.
Well,
and the Wikiet, I think the Wikiet says, well, maybe he didn't die, but either way.
Fear Bradley did try to strangle him,
Fear Bradley was more, I would say in a certain sense, he was more evil. He had less depth in the 03 series, which is something I didn't really like. But I think that Brotherhood, considering all the depth that some of the characters got in the 03 series, they wouldn't have put that depth, even though they couldn't have because they were basing them off of two different sources. 03 kind of followed itself, whereas Brotherhood followed its own thing. But more likely than not, if one series had depth with one character, then the other series didn't. They didn't bother with it. And like Lust, as I was saying, Lust has so much more morality. The episode, I think it's episode 35. The way you see it kind of goes along with her sin, even the way she falls in love with this person. In a way, she seems to have fallen in love with him, but she doesn't want to open herself up to that weakness, so she kills him and everybody in that village.
Also, that
which was
ND pretty much was that
shows
comic
just how tragic and dark these characters are.
Yeah,
like. She has her own person. Her development is amazing in 03.
Yeah.
And then you have her wanting to just be human. And I found it very touching how, like, whenever Edward tries to challenge her and tells her, he's like, how am I supposed to believe that's all you want or whatever? And then she's like, what is the reason you want to get your brother's body back? There's no real difference there. Whereas in Brotherhood, I guess you could argue, because in Brotherhood, they, the reason Alphonse had to get his body back was because he was losing touch to his soul. Or his soul was weakening, the development, the attachment between his soul and his,
body.
Suit of armor was weakening. The link. But, what's another thing? Okay. Oh yeah, about Tucker and Nina. Which series do you think handled that better? I could say, because there was a difference in the nature of it. I would say that the omniscience of the 03's omniscience, whatever that damn word. But 03 took a much more darker take on it. It kind of led it up to it. Some people preferred one, whereas others preferred both. I think they were both equally sad in their own way, but I think that it did a way better choice with developing up Nina. And
pretty much.
Despite that she died,
like, you didn't, like, in Brotherhood, you mostly got humor with her. Minus the ending scene and everything. That's really all you got with her. Whereas in 2003, it takes more to really give her some depth, and it leads you up to that, and especially in that one episode in the 03 series, we even get Hughes and everything. Hughes playing an important man. Hughes, I can't emphasize enough either. We got a lot more development with Hughes in the 03 series. really leads you up, and it was a lot more understandable why Edward felt responsible for Hughes's death, and that's one thing I definitely liked about it. And
yeah, like I said,
but
for 3, you would have an understanding
you get
of
to
the
see
characters.
Edward's birthday party in that
But
one. That was a
Brotherhood,
difference in the way they brought that out
much.
about the pregnancy too. But see, I found it interesting because we just got to see how a good family acts, and then to make that kind of discovering, it really shows the difference between a good family and a bad family in the same episode. Or wait, no, technically in the next episode we see that whole differentiating, and then even the episode, even the part where Barry the Chopper is shown.
Barry the Chopper.
Well, technically, it's 2 episodes before that, I think, or 1. I don't know, but where it shows that
just one
dismembered body that Barry the Chopper dismembered, the woman that he dismembered. Edward has a flashback of seeing his mother like that, and it reminds him of that. And it's so traumatic that it causes him to pass out. We also have the traumatic scene in the Flame versus Full Metal.
Dogs.
Where
I love dogs. And
whatever his
tiny
name is,
miniskirts.
Roy, he sees the flashback of the kid from Ishval, that he had to kill.
Ishval.
And, which was a very nice take on that, which was a very nice add-on from the scene in the manga. And, what's another thing we haven't went over? Oh yeah, Sheska and Winry. Those two, a lot of people say, oh, I would say that Winry and Sheska get a lot more development in the 03 series. They're their own people. Yeah. They don't just support the Elric brothers. But in 03, we actually get to see them play a hand in finding out the killer of Hughes. Finding out the one who killed Hughes. We actually get to see them play a role. And even after that, they still have their own moments and stuff that they help and or help develop the story. And I really like that. Sheska, she barely got any time in Brotherhood, but in this one we actually got some time with her.
Yeah.
And
she's a bookworm, but a bookworm that I like.
What do you think?
Well, I just love how they gave them more independence.
Yeah, and like a lot of people complain, oh, Edward and Alphonse left Winry behind, but she's not completely devastated because of that. She still's going to have people on her side like Pinocchio and Panina and Sheska too. Sheska, she has her beautiful friendship with Sheska, and they're not gonna just abandon her. That's not all that there was to Winry. The Elric brothers didn't define Winry, especially not in the 03 series. Winry was a lot more independent in the 03 series,
which I like,
than in Brotherhood. But what's another point that you prefer about 03 or Brotherhood? I would say the animation is better in Brotherhood than in
sometimes
in 03, but that's kind of given because of the different times they put it out.
It hurts.
Soundtracks and openings
too bright.
The 03 are a lot better than the
oh my god, yes, the Brothers OST. That one is so sad. It's like perfect fitting for the perfect tune. Perfect tone, whereas I would say that Brotherhood has more cliche, more fitting for typical shonen OSTs.
Pretty much.
But the OSTs in 03 were amazing and more emotional. They really had that. They really gripped at your soul whenever you heard them.
Yes.
And it went along perfect with the setting and feel of the series.
Oh.
But in Brotherhood, it had more of a dramatic dramatic in a sense that it's mostly action and stuff. What will be some other points you have to make?
Honestly, 03, dang, that soundtrack is
The
good.
humor. Well, then we already went over that. Well, I would say that there are some lighthearted episodes that actually, we also got to see Black Coyote's origins, which was very nice. A very nice touch up. I mean, an add-on to the 03 series. We got to see Riza and the way they found that dog. We got to see more of Cane Fury, didn't we?
You get to see a lot more of them.
We got to see a lot more of the people that stay by Roy's side, I would think. Whereas, sure, it's not as action-packed. We got more development with them as far as characters go themselves. Whereas, I would say, sure, Roy was technically more badass, quote-unquote, in the Brotherhood series. We got to see him burn Envy and everything. But nobody really saw as much action in the Brotherhood series. I mean, in the 03 series. So, I think that's like something that doesn't need to be mentioned.
We're done filming
I think that they did an amazing job with the characters and the characterization in 03.
Seriously, that
minus ones like Ling,
making. And he has the greatest facial expressions.
Greedling, I should bring up more. Greedling. We also got more of Martel in the 03 series.
Martel.
We got more of Martel and of Izumi too. We really saw just how much she cares for the Elric brothers and the 03 series. We really saw how motherly she can be. And it's interesting because Edward and Alphonse, they had lost their mother, and then along comes Izumi, and I found that really touching and very sad in a way.
Yeah.
I could say that
Ultimately has a lot more character development.
They focus too much.
But not saying that Brotherhood has it too. It's just that
I guess you could say it's a lot more slower paced in 03 series. I don't really count that as a complaint, but some people do. I personally like the way they developed up certain things, the way their take on things, their take on certain events that were different in Brotherhood.
Another reason it was much slower and paced near the first half of the 03 is because the 2009 took out a lot of stuff that the manga did have.
Yeah, the manga, man, the coal mining arc, that was very important for their development, but it only briefly brushed on that in the Brotherhood series.
Yeah.
A humorous moment of all things.
Yeah, and humorous. I don't like the way they kind of humorized Joki as a character. He was a terrible person, and then they sit there and make him out to be more of a joke in the Brotherhood series. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way they made certain things to be a joke whenever it was not something that was supposed to be a joke.
I would have easily devoured him.
I guess you could argue with Barry the Chopper.
Yes.
But, you actually see Barry the Chopper's human form and how it has a direct impact it has a different impact in the 03 series than it does in Brotherhood. Because they actually had a run-in with Barry the Chopper's human form before he was killed, before he had to be executed.
And a much more sadistic
It was a very terrifying instant that they had to meet him in. And some people say, it's just unnecessary, it was just more or less a filler, but I think that also was one thing in the 03 series that caused them partially to close themselves off from other people. One of the things that led them to not rely on other people as much as themselves. And I noticed they were definitely more closed off. They were more to each other than anybody else in the 03 series than in Brotherhood. Which that could be a fault depending on the person's take on it. And anything else? Let's think here. What else was there?
Nothing.
I did that one filler episode. It's there. Some people say, there were a lot of fillers, and in '03. I guess some people could argue
none of those were fillers.
But
those were things.
It was
most
actually
of that
much
stuff
better.
happened in the manga.
Well, what about the scene? What about the episode with that siren? Was that in the manga?
What?
Siren.
That picture.
The woman that she was the alchemist that
Look at all of
that
that. Look at all of that
posed
picture.
as a nurse.
Probably not. They also had to
I
add
think-
a different set of characters, though, because
I think
to
that
affect the
though
It's supposed
storyline.
to fresh
it
out the
kind
world
of
there.
did add on its own. It had a purpose, some purpose in the story, I think. But there was the episodes. People claim it to be filler, but I don't really consider it as much filler. The episode with the fake Elric brothers, because don't they come in later on?
They do.
Like one point throughout the story as well. Don't they come in later on?
Russell and Fletcher. Yeah.
Fletcher and Russell. I think they came in later on throughout the series.
In the 2003, yeah.
Yeah, and plus that also gave us a little bit. Lust also made some appearances. Made 2 appearances throughout those episodes.
Makes you wonder where
In the,
Andy was. Was he just
beginning.
having a chocolate parfait on the side?
Trying to think here.
My guess.
Plus, the Philosopher's Stones. That was one complaint I had about Brotherhood. It almost seemed like the Philosopher's Stones, there was no real consequence to having the Philosopher's Stones or to making them.
Yeah.
But they kind of just came out of thin air in Brotherhood. They kept on bringing out more Philosopher's Stones. Like, there was no...
That just means that they got a lot of people from wars.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, Aaron...
We're
that
running
was
low on
like an
ingredients.
endless
Can you
supply of
get that some more?
Philosopher's Stones, and I was like, what?
Fine.
Another thing I have to question is also, why did Edward, Izumi, and the other 3 just so happen to have to be the sacrifices? I'm pretty sure other people would have tried human transmutation. Why did it just so happen to be Edward Elric?
I don't know.
That makes no sense. If you think about it, don't you think other people would have tried human transmutation and been a sacrifice?
Hang on a sec. And pretty much, when they mention Philosopher's Stones, all I'm pretty much getting is, you get a Philosopher's Stone, you get a Philosopher's Stone, everyone gets a Philosopher's Stone! Should have said that earlier, but hey, it's better than nothing.
I don't get that, but I guess that goes along with the story, so I ain't gonna
The
complain
sad
too much
thing is,
about that.
Yeah.
is naturally that they would that the 5th sacrifice was on involuntarily Mustang.
It could have
Yeah,
been.
that was sad, man. I think they did a really good job developing Roy and Riza's relationship, and
Yeah, that's the only thing
in,
you gotta admit. That relationship.
in the 2009
Yeah.
series, they did a really good job with that.
It's
But
understanding.
at the same time, Roy, you don't really get much comedy with him in the 09 series. There's like literally next to no comedy with him. He's mostly just badass, a really good fighter, and you do get some depth from him, but we get to see tiny mini skirts in the 03 series, which I really like that. That was funny.
That line.
And then oh my god, the
I
scene where he
love
says he
dogs.
likes dogs and the reason why. That's cute. That was really cute. I was going back to the thing with how we actually got to see Black Coyote's origins in the 03 series. But okay, so what is anything else can you think of?
I don't know anything.
Well, I think that would probably wrap up the discussion.
That most likely was over an hour.
Okay, only 6 more minutes,
I
guys.
have my doubts about that.
I guarantee it.
Well, I'll just leave it off there. It's 51 minutes, not an hour.
Very close though.
So,
Also, pretty much,
Bye bye, motherfuckers.
but yeah, I would say that,
that's
that
Brother,
there were
okay.
certain aspects that I liked about Brotherhood, but overall, I think that
2003 is overall better.
is probably better.
Hater.
Quit! What is the enemy and in 03, I could say that they could have made Dante's death a little bit more climatic if I really had a complaint about it, but at the same time, as I said, I think that was very fitting for her death. Father was just overpowered, in my opinion. Father was way overpowered, and then Dante was, I guess, maybe underpowered if you really want to consider it.
Father got his ass kicked in a fist fight.
He really did. He did. Meanwhile,
during a show about alchemy.
Meanwhile, Dante just had it done to her. Her death was very fitting for her cowardly character. It was very fitting. Envy's suicide, as I said, was an interesting touch to Brotherhood. It fit with his character because whatever.
Okay, so calm and collected Envy is in 03. Yes! In comparison to Brotherhood, Envy, which is a lot more psychopathic and a lot more sensitive, believe it or not. FMA 03 did at least keep Envy's quote from the manga about not fighting. Yeah,
but Envy was also a lot more powerful in the 03 series. We noticed that he could, that it was hinted at that in the 09 series, Raph could have taken down Envy, I think.
Easily.
Yeah, easily if he had really wanted to.
Actually, Envy would have had a general advantage over
maybe because of the size, but Aaron, I have my doubts. I think Raph was one of the most powerful of the homunculi.
He would have to have a bit more than swords to carve Envy up.
Pretty much.
True, they did have to take him down with bombs and fire.
But, and electricity, don't forget that.
I think though Envy
I'll have to mention
Envy wasn't really his own person in the Brotherhood. Because they were just there to follow more or less along with the father's goals, minus greed.
Running back to Daddy.
Lust was boring, and the only thing we really get from her is her tricking Gene Havoc, which I guess he could play more of a role in a certain sense. Gene did play more of a role in Brotherhood, which I liked.
Yeah.
You get to see more of him. You get to see more of the war aspect in Brotherhood than in 03. You don't really see too much of the war itself in 03. You see the effects of it. You see the way people were dealing with it. You even get to see two Ishvalan boys. The two Ishvalan boys you get to see in 03 series, but you don't see them in Brotherhood. You don't really get to...
They do show up in Brotherhood, but just not with much depth.
Oh. Yeah, see...
I think it's only one of them.
Some people were offended by the fact that Brotherhood didn't really... There were no named Ishvalans in Brotherhood, minus Miles. I didn't really like the way Edward told Miles how he should feel about the extinction of his own people or whatever, about how he should feel about the Ishvalan War. Now, Marco, I could argue that he died way too soon in Brotherhood. I mean, in
03.
03. He definitely died too soon, in my opinion.
What happened to wrapping it up?
But
there's a lot to talk about from FMA.
But yeah, so
as long as I get away from that palm tree, I'm good. I heard that, Marco. You still owe me a dinner date. I'm not doing that. Get away from me! Okay.
Another thing that I'd like to mention was the way that the Brotherhood series, and I guess...
Forgive me for not having my thoughts gathered here. My brother kept distracting me. Oh, so I guess it was a breakout, I guess. And was using his hand to make signs into the camera, which I didn't use the footage in the end. And just ignore the dog, just ignore the dog.
Yes, the manga did this as well, but see, I mostly watched Brotherhood, so it's all I know. But the way they made fun of Izumi's debilitating condition. She would constantly cough up blood, and it was made out to be a humorous joke. But something like that in real life is not supposed to be made fun of. Whereas in 2003, you knew just how terrifying something like that actually was.
I'm coughing up blood.
Really?
But, as I said, that was something that really bothered me. It was cringy to watch them just make humorous chibis out of those scenes. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'll just leave it at this. That was. It was hard to watch whenever they would just make humor out of serious situations, like extremely terrifyingly serious situations. They would just water it down with humor that was completely inappropriate. Bad timing, as we mentioned earlier.
Bad timing is bad!
So yeah, I thought I'd mention that.
Okay, that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Well done to all you, Karina, and her brother. I pretty much think you guys did pretty well. Although, I have to admit, there were some points where, in this case, what was up with that mic glitch? I mean, seriously, that was kind of weird, and, well, my guess is that you must have actually, gotten to some points in the manga, honestly. I'm not sure which, but honestly, could have mentioned that Envy was there and that he was hiding out, and after he shot the bullet, he went into hiding, and he was wearing a jacket. Yeah, he was actually wearing that, which was pretty cool. And of course, in the forest scene, he was a horse rather than a dog. I mean, seriously, why a dog? I mean, I guess to hide, but a horse. He was actually planning to get Gluttony out of there. And a horse is much faster than a dog. Just saying, there were things in the manga that could have actually been exploited a bit more, but I think it's because, well, they're encouraging you to read the manga. Speaking of which, if you guys like to actually see me do a reaction, or at least do a reading of that, feel free to leave a comment below. And, well, on that note, I think I want to leave off with something I think you guys could approve of. That day, all female officers will be required to wear tiny mini skirts! Yeah, I thought you guys would actually like this. I mean, and yes, I pretty much did this picture because, well, come on. Travis Willingham, the voice of Mustang, also voices now Knuckles. So it only seemed fitting. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys like I hope you guys like this video, and like and subscribe, and we shall see you all later. Bye.